Hey everybody, welcome back. Really excited to be doing another episode of Listening In with Seth. I think it's another great topic and we're going to learn some things together today. So the topic, I'm going to try to use the smart board today. I'm excited about it. Today is patterns versus scripts. So I will say, part of this episode was inspired by a podcast I was listening to, and it was told from multiple perspectives, one of which was the driver's. But one thing that they were talking about as part of this podcast was scripts. Should recruiters use them? Should they not? And so we're going to dive into that just a little bit today. But let's start with the pattern piece, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to listen to 3 separate phone calls, all by the same recruiter, all 3 days in a row, right? So let's say it was a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, one call on each of those days from the same recruiter. And what I'd like to do then is we'll jump up here, we'll write down some notes of patterns that we're seeing with this recruiter. And I think it's important when we're doing call coaching. Sometimes if we just listen to one phone call and then sit down with a recruiter or we're listening to it ourselves, we may be able to justify it and say, it's just a bad day, or, that was my 100th call of the day. I was just kind of done for the day. But when you look for patterns over multiple days, it's easier to spot behaviors, things that we might be able to change in our approach. So that's what we're going to go for today. So I'm going to jump down, and then we'll listen to the phone calls, and I'll jump back up and we'll jot down some notes together.
Can I help you?
Hey, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
All right. Jimmy, I'm looking at the position that you have available that you have listed for CDS as a driver. I was wondering if you still have it vacant, please.
For what city? Yeah, we're still looking for drivers there. I have about 5 drivers waiting to interview, so you're more than welcome to pull an application in. But I do still have an opening there.
Okay, so because I'm looking for a local position.
Everybody is. Everybody is. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, if you're interested, just put your application in, your full application, and we can kind of go from there.
Okay, what's your name again, please? Oh, but you say you currently have it, but you have 5 candidates available to sell, or you have more than one position?
I have probably 2 positions in that drive that for that job.
Oh,
yeah, probably 2.
Okay, no problem. So I'll put the application in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
All right, so keep in mind what we're looking for here is commonalities across the 3 calls that we're going to listen to. We won't have too much commentary on this first call other than I don't normally hear a recruiter try to talk a driver out of a position. Now, I do appreciate the honesty of, hey, we've got a number of people looking at this job already. But it is odd that there wasn't more done there to try to understand what the driver's looking for and come up with maybe some alternative options if, in fact, some of those positions are going to be filled. So that's number 1 here. Let's jump to number 2.
Yes, I received a text call this number for application.
Okay, did you just put in like a partial application?
Yeah, I guess. I think I didn't fill out any application. I just entered some things.
Yeah, you should probably do an inquiry or something. Yeah, this new automated system is so weird.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, did you have any questions about the job or whichever one you applied for?
Well, it was a driving job.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have any questions about it? I mean, we won't really do anything until we get a full application.
Okay, so I just need to go back and fill it out.
Right, yeah, we still need a driver. Yeah, it's for home daily. It's around $13.50 gross weekly. It is all touch freight, just so you know. But it's for Bell. It's for. So it could be as light as 10 pounds up to 30, 40 pounds, 50. I don't know how heavy it can get, but it is very labor intensive, just so you know. But yeah, if you're interested, just finish the rest of the application. We pull a few reports, and then we schedule you a phone interview with that manager.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. So I don't know if you start to see a pattern emerging here, but we'll listen to our third and final call, and then we'll jot some notes down.
Yes, I don't think I have the right place yet, but I'm an owner-operator with my own authority, and I'm calling to find out if you need any owner-operators or contract drivers out of. I was just there yesterday and spoke with the manager, and he told me to call a number, but it's not working, and so I'm starting with you.
And I don't know either.
All the big companies, let me tell you something, all the big companies, it doesn't matter who it is, nobody knows anything. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but it's scary. I'm saying to myself, do I want to put my truck in that system? Nobody really knows what department. You guys got so many different departments and so many different things going on, and it's just been a struggle to try to get anybody in any of these companies to follow it through. It's crazy. Anyway, well, thanks for your time. Thank you.
All right. So once again, these are all calls by the same recruiter on 3 separate days. So let's talk about the commonalities then. We'll jump to the board. What were some of the things that you heard in those 3 calls that was common across all 3 of them? Well, the first one I'm going to write down is they were all very short, right? I think every call was less than 1 minute and 30 seconds, right? So not that every call needs to be a lengthy conversation, right? If we're able to get down to business quickly and understand what they're looking for, what we have to offer, things can move fast. But there were definitely some things missing in that conversation, right? All right, let's jump to just a second one. And there's multiple here, but we're just going to talk about 3. Is they weren't very helpful. I feel like the drivers were calling in with specific jobs that they wanted to know more about, right? They had questions, they were looking for some guidance, and the recruiter was very quick to basically say, fill out a full app and then we'll talk later, was kind of the gist that I got there. The drivers wanted to have a conversation. They wanted to understand more about what it paid and what it entailed. But the recruiter just didn't want to disclose details, right? Or maybe it's because of this, number 3. The recruiter didn't know. In each of those phone calls, there was something that the driver was after that the recruiter just didn't know about, right? So in the very first call, it was basically the number of positions open for that particular area. And the recruiter was like, I think 2, probably 2, I think is what the recruiter said. You should know, right, how many positions are available, especially if somebody's calling in to find out more about it. Then on the second call, the recruiter brought up the fact that there's going to be loading, unloading, and varying amounts of weight. But the recruiter, for some reason, backed themselves up into a corner where they're like 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50. I don't even know how many pounds, right? Don't bring it up if you don't know about it. Or if you don't know about it, make sure after that phone call you go up, you find out so that next time it comes up, you're ready to go. And then the third one, it was an owner-operator asking, do you hire owner-operators in this area? And the recruiter didn't know. The driver was quick to cut her off and basically say, hey, this is frustrating. All these big companies I'm calling, nobody seems to have the answers, right? So that's where I wanted to tie this back to that podcast, was the driver that they were talking to said, one of the fastest ways they determine whether or not they want to work for a particular company is how that recruiter fields their questions. And he said, if there's a recruiter he's talking to that clearly doesn't understand what's available, what the job entails, he's moving on, right? He doesn't have time to waste with that. He's been in the industry a long time. He's just going to move right on, right? So this didn't know, hey, over time, we've got to jot down the things we don't know, find those answers so that we're well prepared for the phone call. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up here, because we're talking about patterns versus scripts, is in that same podcast, it mentioned that the two individuals speaking said, they don't believe in scripts, that recruiters shouldn't have them. And I mostly agree with that none of us want to have a conversation with someone who it feels like they're just moving down their piece of paper of questions they need to ask or expectations they need to set. None of us really enjoy that, and you can normally tell. But here's where I argue it is with recruiters, even those, or maybe I should say, especially those that have been doing it for a long time, they'll say, well, I don't follow a script. But what tends to happen is it ends up being the same conversation over and over. So that's the thing I want to challenge is not every recruiter with a lot of experience does this, but many do, which is they say they don't follow a script. They don't have a piece of paper in front of them that tells them what to say. But if their patterns are the same, where they're doing the same thing on every call, it basically does become a script. So the solution to that then is treat everybody like an individual. Let the conversation go based off of, just have a natural conversation with someone. Avoiding using the same questions over and over. And one quick and easy way to do that is if you're listening, the next question that comes out should be based off of what that person just said. And if we're doing that, every conversation's probably going to sound a little bit different, right? So look for patterns. What are things that we're doing in phone calls that we can work on? And even if we don't believe in scripts, we all kind of follow them because of the behaviors that we fall into. So let's work on our script, right? Let's work on the behaviors that help us have the right type of conversation so that it doesn't fall into the same type of call every single time, that it's all based on who you're speaking with at that moment. So those are my thoughts for today. Hopefully that's helpful, and reach out if you got any questions or we can do anything for you. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our video. We really hope that it's been useful to you, and we hope you come back for more. If you're not already a subscriber, you can do so by clicking that little thing right there so you never miss out on our content. And if you'd like to watch another video, how about this one right here, just for you?